Hey everybody, welcome on in. Really great to have you guys in here today. I think we've got, just having a bit of a look now, we've got quite a few people jumping on and getting in nice and early, which is great. Kira and I were just having a chat and we thought it'd be a really great opportunity to jump in a little bit early and get comfy with you guys and ask you a couple of questions. So if you are listening right now, hopefully you guys can all hear us okay. What I'd like you to do is find the question box. We're going to be using that a little bit today. So if you can find the question box for me, and if you can jump over there and tell us how long you've been with Juice Plus for. And we'd also like to know, what's your biggest social media hurdle right now? What's your biggest social media challenge? If you can jump over there, find that question box and enter that information in. So how long you've been with Juice Plus for and what's your biggest social media hurdle right now, that would be great. You might even want to tell us whereabouts you're calling in from today. It's always great to see where people are around the country. I think we've got Australia and New Zealand on today, so it'd be great to know where you guys are about and say a little hello. Plus, it helps us to make sure that all our tech and everything is working okay before we get started. While you guys are doing that, I was just explaining to Kira and the others in the team, we have jam-packed this session so full today that I'm a little bit concerned about time. So I'm going to do my best to get through it all as well as we can, but I'm really open to you guys touching base with us afterwards. If there's something that maybe you would like us to elaborate on or give you a little bit of a further understanding about, please don't hesitate to touch base with us. So I can't see any questions coming through yet, guys. So I just want to make sure that everyone can hear us and that everything is working okay. So if someone can just maybe jump into that question box and let me know if you can hear, that's a great start. Just give me a hey. Oh, thank you, Stephanie. Awesome. Okay, that's one good thing. Great. You guys have just been frantically typing, I can see now. Everyone's jumping in, which is great. So for those of you just jumped in, we want to know how long you've been with Juice Plus for and what's your biggest social media hurdle right now. Hey Claire, how are you? So Claire has 6 months as a franchisee. Welcome on in, Claire. It's great to have you here. We've got Chrissy. Hey Chrissy. Abby has also been with Juice Plus for 6 months, based in Geelong. And the one main struggle on social media right now is doing videos. Cool. Well, that's really great to hear, Abby, because there's loads and loads of ways that you can incorporate videos. So I'm glad to hear that you're willing to. It's just a matter of getting yourself geared up and ready to go. So hopefully we can touch on video a bit today. I might put a little note down the bottom here if we get a chance at the end.
I'm already hiding from the video right now, so I've been nice and sneaky. I'm just lurking in the background.
Are you trying to get your video going there, Kira?
I can get it up and running. I've been trying to find the question box. I feel like such a rookie at
You can't see it, I don't think. Yeah. Oh, do you mean for you to write a question?
I can't see what people are writing. I'm missing out on all your excitement.
Hey guys, this is Kira.
Hi everyone.
So I can see it. So usually there's a little drag out in there, but I know that I get a different view to everybody else. So I don't know, maybe we could get Misa to send you a little chat message to tell you where it is. I can just tell you what they're all saying because they're all jumping in now, which is great.
I want to hear.
So guys, what I would love for you to do, if you've just joined us, please tell us in the question box how long you've been with Juice Plus for, whereabouts you are in the world. We'd love to know that. And also, if you could tell us what's your biggest social media hurdle right now. So what's the biggest challenge you've got at the moment? So who else have we got here? We've got Carolyn from Tweed Heads. She's been taking the product for over 15 years, but she's just started to build her own business. So welcome to the family, Carolyn. It's great to have you.
So exciting.
So Carolyn's a big social media user. Her challenge is downloading images to use. I think that's what she's trying to say. So great one there as well, Carolyn. That's another thing maybe I can touch on here. Downloading images. I'm just so much stuff to go over today. Who else have we got? We've got Annalise, who's just putting the baby to bed, then she's all in. She's been with JP for 18 months. So welcome, Annalise. Great to have you. Claire says Instagram is her biggest challenge and avoiding seeing irrelevant posts. Welcome to the club. We've got Holly. Welcome, Holly. Only started out on the 28th of Feb, and she's struggling starting a following and hurdling the videos as well. So welcome, Holly. Great to have you in here. It looks like we've got lots of newies, which is great. I love that you guys are so keen and willing to learn, which is awesome. Now, Stephanie has been with us for 6 months, and Stephanie sent me through an email earlier today with a really great question in there that I'll address a bit later on. So thank you for doing that, Stephanie. Michelle has been with Juice Plus for 4.5 years. She's from Nowra in New South Wales.
Nowra.
Is that how I say it?
Yeah.
It's like people that are not from, I'm from Launceston, but people who are not from here call it Launceston, and you know they're not local when they do that. We've got, who else? Oh, and Michelle was saying that finding her avatar and attracting new followers is her challenge. Naomi said, I can't see the chat. You're in the chat, Naomi.
You made it.
Yeah. So just a little heads up, guys. When you write a question, I can see it, but everyone else can't. So we do that because it keeps it nice and personal so that you don't have to worry about that. You know, it's a silly question. There are no silly questions. So guys, if you've only just joined us, just jump over to that question box, say hi, let us know where you're calling in from, how long you've been with Juice Plus for, and what is your biggest social media hurdle right now. And what we'll do is we'll get things going now while you guys are doing that. And I'll hand over to Kira, who is our amazing Kira in head office over there in Newcastle. And I'll let her just start us all off.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. It's awesome that you guys have jumped online and you guys are taking ownership of your social media and you're ready to learn more. So you're in such good hands with Sam. So here at head office, I work in social media, marketing, communications, all that stuff. And what Sam does and her team is look after the Juice Plus public page, Juice Plus Australia public page, for Facebook and Instagram. So if you haven't already liked those pages, you need to get on and like them, and you can go and see what Sam and her team have been up to. So obviously we have a whole huge amount of trust, and Sam has just so much knowledge on the Juice Plus business itself. She's been a franchise partner in the past. She owns her own business, so she understands what you're doing from that perspective as well. She's a mum, and obviously she's our social media guru. So I'm going to chuck it over to her to take you through this awesome little workshop. And make sure to be commenting in, ask all your stupid questions, get them out of the way, because if you don't ask them now, you're going to miss out on this awesome resource that you've got in front of you. So have a good time.
Cool. Thank you, Kira. I'll pay you later.
Guys.
That was great. So we've got the absolute pleasure, as Kira said, of working with Juice Plus head office. We've been working with head office for, I feel like it must be a couple of years now, or just about a couple of years. And it's been an amazing journey, a whirlwind, that's for sure. But we get the opportunity to not only help run the social media from a corporate head office perspective to support all of you guys, but we've also been training Juice Plus franchise partners for even longer than that. So we've been doing courses and online webinars for you guys for, I want to say, maybe 4 years. And it's loads of fun doing that, and it's really great to be able to help you guys grow your amazing businesses. So I always love these opportunities to come in and do some extra little trainings with you, and I have no doubt you'll get heaps out of today's session. So I'll let, I know we've got a very, very busy week going on in head office right now. As you've probably noticed, there are a few really amazing offers on the go. So I'm going to let Kira go. She's still going to be lurking in the background, but I'm not going to hold her up for any longer. So thank you so much, Kira, for joining us. And if you guys have any other questions for Kira, or also if you've got any questions about compliance, I think you put the compliance email in the chat, haven't you?
I haven't put that one in yet, but it's compliance.au@juiceplus.com. If you have any compliance questions for the end of this training, you can write them all out.
Awesome. Thanks so much for that, Kira. So we'll get that in there. So if you guys do have any questions, you can certainly reach out. I know compliance is a bit of a challenge, just getting to know what you can and can't do and say, but head office are absolutely there to support you guys. So this should not be something that's holding you back on social media. So we'll let you go, Kira, and we will dive on in. Are you okay to fix your bits there, or do you want me to? Nope, she's good. She's got it under control. So guys, again, thank you so much for jumping on in today. I really love to see people investing in their growth and your knowledge, and social media is such a fast-paced, fast-moving machine. So guys, we're going to talk all about Instagram today. I am going to touch a little bit on Facebook as well, because there are some things you need to understand about the differences between the two. But we're going to jump on in. The first thing I do want to say is please jump over to our Facebook page as well. Obviously, we need you to follow Juice Plus. That's critically important, because a lot of the content we're putting on that page for you guys is to help you with your own social media. So we're providing you with constant content to help you in that space on both the Facebook and the Instagram pages. But I'd also love to encourage you to follow our Oxano marketing page. A little bit of a shameless plug, yes, but also we're constantly doing little tips, tricks and updates and little video tutorials on our page, as there are things that you need to know about. So please jump on over there as well. Follow us. We'd love to have you or be as part of your Juice Plus business journey. The other thing you'll see is on our page, we put a little post up this morning. Now, this particular post is a competition post. So we're actually going to be awarding a prize to one person that comments on this post today. Now, I'd like to encourage you guys, just when you get a sec, jump over to our Facebook page, comment on this post. It could be one thing. You might say toilet paper, whatever it is that comes to mind for you. Please don't make it toilet paper. And comment on that post. And we're going to be giving away a Benro tripod selfie stick today. That's something that we highly recommend that you have in your toolkit for amazing social media if you're doing recipes in the kitchen, or you're taking photographs, or there's anything that you're doing out and about with video or photography for your social media. It's an amazing tool. So we're going to be giving one of those away today. All you have to do to enter is comment on this post. Part of the reason is that this strategy, this is actually called an engagement post. And it's one of the strategies that we talk to you about when we do Facebook training. So we like to use this as an active example to show you how to increase engagement on your page. And you might have noticed we do this a little bit as well on the Juice Plus page. So jump on over there and check that out. Now, something else I want to tell you guys about that is super, super exciting is that last week we released our very own podcast. Now, this podcast is completely free, but this is all about giving you guys extra learning on the go. This podcast is specifically for people in direct selling, network marketing, party plans. So we only work in this space. Something else to make you guys fully aware of is that we're really well versed in, this industry and how you guys need to grow your business using social media, because it is the only industry we work in anymore. Partly because we're really passionate about how direct selling and network marketing really does change lives and give you guys that independence that you all deserve as parents, as individuals, to do the things in life you value most, and having control over your financial situation as well. So we've actually created a podcast to give you updated information, training on social media, a whole bunch of amazing stuff. Episode number 2 comes out tomorrow, so we'd love for you to jump in and follow that. We're also going to put the link to that podcast in our chat in here. So if you want to follow that, just click on that chat and you'll be able to get that link to come across and follow the podcast. We'd love to have you there. Now, Kira mentioned before the importance of asking questions. Now, she did say ask all of your stupid question, but my opinion is the only stupid question is the one that you don't ask. We speak at a lot of conferences. We do keynote speaking for direct selling companies, and something that always happens is when I get off stage and I go to have a chat with people, we always have people come up to us and say, I've got a question, but I was afraid to ask because I felt like it was a stupid question. And the thing is that nearly always when that question does get asked, I think to myself how great it would have been for everyone else to have heard that question and the answer. So remember that whatever's rattling through your head is often the question going through many other minds on the webinar today as well. So please ask, and remember that your questions as anonymous, well, not anonymous, but only I can see them. I will say, if you would like me to answer a question for you, but you don't want me to mention your name, just put a non in front of it when you ask it, and I'll make sure that I don't mention who you are. Otherwise, I'll call you out just so you know I'm responding to your question. We're going to get to these at the end as well, just so that we don't get too distracted throughout unless I see something that I feel I really need to address at that time. So if you think I'm not answering your question, we're actually flagging them in the background so we can get to them at the end of the webinar today. Now, it's time for you guys to interact with me. I want you to jump over to that question box and tell me who is currently using Instagram right now to promote their Juice Plus business. So if you guys could jump in there and tell me, what are you currently doing? So, because I know we've got some people that are brand newies to Instagram, and that's completely fine. And I know we've got some in here who are looking just for a little bit of some new tips and tricks, etc. So if you could jump in there, let me know, answer the question. Are you currently using Instagram to promote your Juice Plus business? Give me a yes or a no in there. So we're getting lots of people responding to that now. Thank you, guys. I should also mention a little bit of housekeeping. If you guys happen to get a bit distracted and you go over to another web page, I can actually see when you're not sitting on the webinar. The reason I bring this up is because I really want you guys to give yourself this next hour to really focus on this training. We've packed heaps of info in here. It's going to be pretty fast paced. So it's going to be kind of like a fire hydrant shooting at you guys, and just take what makes sense and let that stick. But what I will say is give yourself this next hour. Make this about growing you, growing your business. You guys deserve it. Please don't be distracted by other things, because I can promise you, you will miss out on heaps of stuff that sort of goes in one ear and out the other. So stay focused with us. It's 1 hour. Michelle says she's all in. Well done, Michelle. So lots of you guys are giving us yeses and nos here, which is great. We've got a few people that are not using Instagram. I just want to say to you guys, I'm super impressed that you're here. So thank you so much for taking the time. Now, I'd also like to know who's done any webinars or training or anything with me before. Have any of you guys, I know we've got a couple of you, we're very familiar with some of the names in here, but let us know, have you done any of our webinars? Have you done any of our boot camps, any of our trainings previously? I'd love to know who we've got in today. Okay, so as we jump on in, I would also like to talk to you guys about a few things, a few fears specifically that tend to hold us back from embracing social media effectively. Now, this is really important to note, because these are the 4 main things that stop us from being successful at social media. They're very, very relevant, and I want to address them now, because if we don't recognize and address why it is that we're not being successful, then these are the things that continue to hold us back. So we've got Naomi says, I've done heaps of stuff with so many people. There's so much amazing training with Juice Plus. I've got to say, it's one thing that really, really sets this company apart. So the first of the 4 fears that hold us back on social media is a sense of overwhelm. This is really relevant for many of us, because Facebook in particular, but Instagram as well, there is so much going on when you go to the platform. It's hard to know where to start. And using business pages versus personal profiles, groups, all of the above, kind of gets really confusing as to where do I even start? What do I do? And then we find ourselves watching other influencers, other people that seem to be doing really well, and we compare ourselves, and we tend to get this sense of absolute overwhelm when it comes to knowing where to start. The next thing is really, really relevant. I want to really bring this one up right now because I think it's important we address this. A lot of us feel very left behind. And the reason a lot of us feel left behind is because of generational change. Now, guys, jump over to the question box now. If you're willing, I promise I'm not going to call you out, but I want you to tell me how old you are. I want you guys to jump over there and tell me how old you are. You can give me like a rough number. You don't have to tell me the exact number if you don't want to, but tell me how old you are. Because I can almost guarantee that majority of you are going to fall into this bracket. Okay, a few more of you guys, jump on over. I want to know your age. I promise I won't call you out. Thank you for all of you for participating, by the way. It's a lot of trust there. So guys, just to give you a bit of a rough idea here, we've got people that are from between, the youngest person on here is around about 20, and the oldest person is in their late 60s. So to give you guys a bit of an idea here, let's stop and think about the reality of this situation. For many of us, anyone who's over around about maybe 34, 35, technology and social media, well, let's just say technology and internet is not something that we grew up with in school. Remember that the internet only ever came in 1996. So for many of us, it wasn't part of our education to learn about using IT, to use technology when it comes to running our lives. So stop and think for a little second about how much of our lives is now run by technology. We've got internet banking, social media, emails, websites. Just think about how much time you spend using all of those things, and then stop and think, how did you learn it all? For most of you, you learnt it by teaching yourself. You guys are almost 100%, I can guarantee you, self-taught. And this is an amazing thing when you really stop and think back, hang on a sec, I should give myself a bit of a pat on the back, because we really judge ourselves and we think, you know what, I'm too old, or I'm not tech savvy, and we think that it's our fault. And the fact of the matter is, you guys are fully capable right now of learning everything you need to learn to be successful at social media. So just put that little thought in the back of your mind. Naomi brings up a really good point. I didn't even have FPOS before 2020. That's a bit late there, I think, Naomi. Maybe, oh, before 20 years old. Okay, got it, right, not so bad. The other thing, the other reality here and the fear that we have is the fact that things will change. So, and this is really true, because what tends to happen is we hold back from learning something because we know Facebook's probably going to go out and change it on us. The fact of the matter is, guys, it's not going to stop changing. So the best thing you can possibly do is continue learning, continue moving forward, because that's going to help keep you up to date. Even if it's just little baby steps, just move forward at your own pace. The last challenge, and probably the biggest one, is we're doing everything we think we're meant to be doing. We're watching other people, we're doing what we've been told. We might even be continuously doing something that worked for us a year ago, but now it's not working. So my question to you is, do any of these 4 things resonate with you? Does any of this stuff sound like you guys right now? Any of you challenged by some of these things? Do you feel a bit left behind? Is it just not working and you're banging your head against a wall trying to get your stuff seen by people? Do any of these things here sound a little bit familiar? Okay, we're getting lots of very loud yeses in capital letters here. I want to explain to you why these things are a problem and why it is that you need to do the things we're going to teach you today. So I know we're talking about Instagram, but the thing you need to be aware of is that Instagram is owned by Facebook. And as part of that, it also means that one of the things that we need to be aware of is what the Facebook algorithm is, because it affects Instagram as well. So have any of you guys heard of the algorithm before? Give me a little heads up in the question box if you're familiar with this, or if this is something that is brand spanking new to you guys. Okay, so getting quite a few no's in here. I'm going to explain this to you. About 6 years ago, Facebook realized that Facebook was becoming a very busy place. Businesses had cottoned on to the fact that they had a captive audience on Facebook, and so it was becoming very spammy. There was a lot of business and self-promotion going on, etc. So what it did was it adapted and brought in a program that operates in the background called the Facebook algorithm. Now, the algorithm, its job is to learn everything there is to learn about each and every one of you guys. It learns things like what websites you go to, who you converse with, what your interests, demographics, behaviors are. Things like, you know, if you have family, if you've got kids, and if you do, how old are those kids? It learns everything there is to learn about you in order to deliver you only the stuff it knows you want to see, with the intention of keeping you on the platform for longer and more frequently. Now, this is a bit of a challenge from a business perspective because we're naturally programmed to talk about what we want to talk about with the objective of getting you to take the action we want you to take. So basically what we do is we broadcast information to people. We tell them what we want them to hear. We try to get them to take the action we want them to take, rather than thinking a little bit more strategically and providing people with content that they actually want to see. So what happens is that this algorithm holds back and stops people seeing the content we're putting out there if we do the things that we shouldn't be doing. We're going to talk a little bit about some of those things today. But the reason this is important to note today is because Facebook owning Instagram as well, this algorithm applies to both. There are definitely some things that are different about the two platforms, but just know that not everything you put out there on Instagram gets seen by everybody. And so this is where we have to learn, how do we get around this algorithm? To put it all really simply though, guys, the Facebook algorithm means that your Facebook feed is customized to you like a fingerprint. So there are no two the same, and it is intended for you and you alone, no one else. So this is why we have to be really strategic. Now, for those of you that are interested in learning a little bit more about how to use Facebook, we're actually doing a webinar on Thursday. We're going to put the link in the chat for you guys, for those of you that would like to join that webinar. This one is about how to use what is going on right now and use it to your advantage, but also to keep your business growing in a really difficult time. Obviously, with the coronavirus going on, there are a lot of things that are very uncertain at the moment, a lot of challenges going on. So what I encourage you guys to do is, we want to help you to continue to grow your business and have it thrive in this time. And if you want to learn a little bit more about the Facebook element, we'd love to have you join us on that free webinar on Thursday. So we'll pop that link in. If you want it, you can't find it, we'll pop it, just let us know in the question box and we'll send that through to you. Okay, so what are we going to cover today? We're going to talk about why Instagram is valuable for your business. We're going to talk about what the difference is between Instagram, and we're going to cover off mostly on the differences today between Instagram and Facebook. We're also going to talk about the difference between a personal profile on Instagram and a business profile, how to genuinely build your followers, tools and programs to help your journey, some do's and don'ts, and we're also going to cover off on reposting, hashtags, and a few other bits and pieces. So like I said, jam-packed. So let's start off with what Instagram is actually for. Instagram, unlike Facebook, was created to capture and share the world's moments in image format. It's all about what's going on in your world right now. And for that reason, that's one of the reasons why you can't schedule to Instagram at the moment. But watch this space. My prediction is that that won't stay that way for very long. So Instagram is essentially for inspiring people. It's for trends and moments. Hence, also Instagram stories, which we'll talk a little bit about today too. What is social media not for though? This is where we've got to be super careful. Social media is exactly that. It is social media. The problem we have is that many of us treat social media the same way we do any other form of advertising. We essentially broadcast and tell people what we want them to hear versus engaging people and building relationships. The most successful Juice Plus franchise partners are those that use social media to grow meaningful relationships, to make connections, and those people that actually really genuinely do care on, love on people converse with people, versus making it all about what it is that they want to achieve. So hopefully we'll give you guys a little bit of inspiration on how to do that today. So just remember, it's not about spamming people. It is not about over promoting. In fact, the less you promote what you do, the more likely you are to have success. It's not for unhealthy conversation. Social media, Facebook and Instagram are now watching very closely for unhealthy conversation. This algorithm is insanely clever, and it can absolutely see a lot of what's going on behind the scenes. So if you're going to get involved in unhealthy conversation, it's likely that those posts are going to get what we call shadow banned or hidden from people. So try to keep yourself upbeat. Try not to get caught up in the negativity that might be going on social media. And definitely don't be one of those people that complains. I'm sure we have none of them on this call right now. But you know what I'm talking about. You've seen those people out there. So what is the difference between Facebook and Instagram? Just as we go into this, if you guys could tell me in the question box, who currently uses Facebook? Well, maybe just tell me, which platform do you use more, Facebook or Instagram? Just type in the platform you use more. Which of them, so Instagram, Facebook, okay. Equal, okay. So I'm going to say most of you guys at the moment that have jumped in to answer that, thanks guys, most of you are saying you use Facebook more. So let's just talk a little bit about the difference between the two. The first is the fact that Instagram is mostly about the image, whereas Facebook is mostly about the information. So on Instagram, it's image first, information second. On Facebook, it's information first, image second. So that's something we've got to be aware of. We've got to use the platform for what it's been created for. So we've got to play the Instagram or the Facebook game. You can't use both in exactly the same way. So what I do encourage you to do is pick a platform that makes the most sense for growing your business, and then master that platform. It's very, very hard to do both really, really well because they are quite unique from each other. Something to be aware of is that you can actually share posts automatically across by connecting your Instagram and Facebook page. You can share posts across from Instagram to Facebook. I don't, however, recommend that you do this. The reason is that as soon as you click that share button from Instagram across to Facebook, Facebook recognizes that you haven't customized that post for its platform. Remember, it owns Instagram and Facebook, so it knows when you've clicked that button. So what happens is you automatically lose around about 30% of your potential reach. It takes you only a couple of seconds to copy your text. You've got your image in your phone, to go out of Instagram, go into Facebook and organically post your same post in there. So just keep that in mind. The other thing is that if you're doing any at mentions, etc. on Instagram, it won't be shared across to Facebook because they're not used in the same way. So this means that you get ugly little at mentions and bits and pieces on your Facebook post that are going to hinder the success of that particular post. So don't share posts across from Instagram to Facebook. Just post them separately and you'll get a much better result from doing that. The other thing is that hashtags were actually created originally for Instagram and Twitter. So hashtags are very important to use on Instagram, and we'll talk a little bit about that shortly, but definitely not to be used on Facebook. So although there are a couple of instances where using them on Facebook can be beneficial, for the most part, avoid it. On Facebook, it's really easy to share links. So to take people to a particular web page, to help them to buy, to help them to connect and show them various things you want to show them. On Instagram, however, you can only share one link in your bio. Now, there is an exception to this, which we'll cover off, but for the most part, you can only share one link on Instagram in your bio, which means you need to go in and change that to be relevant for whatever your post is, if you're posting something that you need to have a link go with. So this means that on Facebook, it's really easy to share links and connect them to web pages. Instagram, not so much. Another thing is that you can post to Facebook on a PC, but Instagram is 99.9% mobile based. So this means that if you want to put a post up on Instagram, you really need to be using your mobile phone. So for those of you that like to have the big PC going on, although you can look at your Instagram feed and others on your PC, you can't actually post from there. Something else to be really aware of. Facebook also has features such as tabs over on the left-hand side for things like events, shop now, all that sort of stuff. So again, there's a few, it's easier to get people to make a buying decision on Facebook, but it's probably easier to brand yourself on Instagram, and we'll talk to you a little bit about that in a sec. So a couple of things to be aware of. I mentioned before, Instagram is owned by Facebook. Organic growth, organic is the free growth, so the growth that you get without paying anything, has grown by 115% compared to Facebook, that's experienced a decrease of 65% of organic growth. This has got a lot to do with how busy Facebook is getting, and it's also got a lot to do with the amount of paid ads currently being run. It's also, Instagram is very efficient at deleting fake accounts and followers. So because there've been so many people buying fake followers and then, you know, calling themselves an influencer and using that to get more reach on Instagram, it's become a lot cleverer about who has got a genuine following versus who has got a fake one. And of course, it's also working out who's got fake accounts, what's real and what's not. This is all beneficial to you because it helps keep everything fair. Instagram has got 1 billion active monthly users. This means 1 billion people that use it at least once a month worldwide, and 9 million of those are in Australia. 500 million of those 1 billion people, of 500 million of those 1 billion people are using their Instagram account every single day. Okay, so just to put this into perspective, think about how much potential reach, how much potential exposure that could mean for you guys. Insta Stories daily users are now currently sitting at 400 million people. So think about this as well. When it comes to stories, who's using stories, by the way? Give me a little yep or no in the question box if you're currently using Instagram stories. Okay, about half of you guys at the moment. So something to be aware of here is that Insta Stories are something that 400 million of the 500 million daily users are accessing and using. So if you're not currently using it and you want Instagram to be your platform of use, it's probably well worth considering getting active in the space of stories. 68% of users are females. Posts with a location. So posts where you tag in where you are at the time of putting that post up get 79% more engagement. But that's a number a lot of you guys weren't familiar with. How's this one? Photos with faces on Instagram get 38% more likes. Why do you suppose that might be? I want to encourage you guys where you can to incorporate a human element into your content and to make your photographs relevant to you. Remember that people buy from people that they know, like, and trust, not from big brands they've got no connection with. The best weapon in growing your business right now that you have is you. And one thing I really want to encourage you guys to do right now is to genuinely be yourselves. Something I get asked a lot is, what do I write? What sort of photos should I put up? And the question I would ask back to you is, how would you best connect with your friends and your family? How would you help them to relate to you? And I can guarantee you most of the time it's by simply being real, posting photographs that include you in them. It doesn't even have to be your face. It could be a hand, or, you know, and we do a lot of this on the Juice Plus main page. You'll notice a lot of the posts we put up have got, you know, instead of just putting a picture of, you know, the Omega blend, we'll actually have a hand holding the Omega blend, because it makes the image more relatable than just product placing all of the time. Posts on Instagram only, remember Instagram, with at least one hashtag get 12.6% more engagement. Now, we recommend that you use more than this, but we'll talk about that in a sec. Instagram users engage more on weekdays, with Tuesday and Thursday showing the best engagement. But Something else to note is that if you're checking your insights on Instagram, it's actually going to tell you your best time of day to be posting. So I would highly encourage you guys to get in and check your insights on a regular basis and get familiar with what it is that your fans and followers are engaging with, and how it is that you can better deliver them the stuff they want to see and when it is that they're online. 78% of brand influencers prefer to use Instagram. Little fly in my face. And adverts, so if you're going to do adverts, they can be run across both Facebook and Instagram simultaneously. So because Facebook owns Instagram, if you want to run ads, they can be run at the same time on both platforms. By the way, I don't recommend that you run Facebook or Instagram ads unless you've done some form of learning around that, because although they're very powerful and they can absolutely help you grow your business, number one, you've got to be careful when it comes to compliance. But the other thing is that adverts can also be a great way to lose money if you're not familiar with what you're doing. There are some really simple steps that you need to take, and in our free podcast, in our trainings, and we're also going to talk to you at the end about an opportunity to do some further learning with us if you want to. We also do some training in there as well. The average Instagram account grows by 16% per month, which is nearly 200% per year. That's a really interesting stat, because I know for a lot of us, we wonder, is there an opportunity for growth with such a busy platform? Okay, so let's talk about some of the rules when it comes to getting Instagram to work for your business. The first is a pretty obvious one. It is highly visual. This means that it needs to be very much so about the image. The text is almost secondary. Although you want to include a caption or text with your post, you're going to grab people's attention first and foremost with the image that you use. So you've got to be mindful about that. We'll give you some tips in how to do that as well on today's webinar. It's also really important not to post and run. What I would love to encourage you guys to do is use social media to network outside of your page as well. Instagram is one of those places where in order to be successful, you actually have to get outside of your own profile and engage with other Instagram profiles to grow and increase your fans and followers. This means you've got to find other like-minded individuals, maybe some of your key potential customers, and engage with their pages. So make sure that you're commenting on other people's posts. Don't just expect people to do it for you. You need to be doing it for them as well. I mentioned before, it's 99.9% mobile. So also make sure that you are using Instagram effectively, that you're optimizing your posts so that the images are all fitting beautifully. Another little tip when it comes to images, never, ever, 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 ever use Google Images on any social media platform, but in particular, don't use them on Instagram. What I mean by that is don't go to Google, search for a picture of a puppy, copy it and then paste it into your Instagram, or save it to your gallery and then upload it to Instagram. There are a few reasons for this. Number one, it's actually, that image doesn't belong to you, so it's considered theft. But the other thing is that when you take an image off one website and you load it up into another or into a social media platform, you actually reduce the quality of the image. And you'll often see when people do that their images are pixelated and fuzzy, and they often might even have a watermark or a logo for another brand or a business on them, which isn't professional, and you guys don't want to be promoting anyone else. You want to promote yourselves. Another little tip here is hashtags with Instagram. Hashtags are any time that we put the pound symbol or the hash symbol in front of any word. Now, essentially what hashtagging does is it catalogs that image that you just loaded up with any other time anyone else used that same hashtag. So the reason these are important is because people in Instagram can search for other pages that they want to follow or other profiles they want to follow by searching a particular hashtag. So if you put in, hashtag sunshine, you can search for any time that anyone has done hashtag sunshine or hashtag healthy living or whatever that might be. Now, I've got a couple of people going, okay, well, how do we find hashtags? So I'm going to give you a few tips on that as we go through today. I've got a couple of apps that are going to help you there. But what I will say is your hashtags really should be a minimum of 7, maximum of 30. And we'll give you a couple little strategies around that in this session. It's also important to note that unlike Facebook, on Instagram, you can only share one link at a time, except for one exception we're going to give you in a sec. But use that one link well. This means that when you put a post up and you want to share a link, let's just say that the $40 off the Chocolate Complete offer that's going right now. If you want to send people to the spot where they can make that order through your website, then you want to go into your Instagram bio and make that change. So go in and do that each time you put your post up. We've got a little cheat for you here to help you with this process down the track, but just note that. Another one is that daily activity on Instagram is needed for growth. So you can't just jump in once a week. We recommend giving yourself about 10 minutes a day to manage your Instagram. And for planning for the week, give yourself around about 2 hours once a week in one block. That's usually how I suggest that you do it. That 10 minutes a day is enough time for you to get something up in your Insta story, for you to get outside your page and interact and engage with other pages, to interact and engage with people that have interacted with you, and to manage your content. Now, we do actually have a cool little download that we can provide to you guys that is our daily checklist. This is a daily checklist to help you manage all of your social profiles, so your Facebook and your Instagram, and help keep you on track and productive. One of the things that's a bit of a challenge when it comes to social media, of course, is the fact that we can be highly unproductive because it is such a distraction. Facebook and Instagram are the world's greatest distractions, so definitely well worth being really, really tidy and monitor your daily usage. And another thing to keep in mind is that less is usually more. If you're spending too long thinking about what to post or what to write, probably not, it's not going to be genuine to you. So sometimes it's a really good idea to take a little step back, stop and think about who it is that you're trying to reach, and how you can best do that. And we've got a couple of tips to help you with that as well. But my biggest tip here is think to yourself, if I was speaking to a friend or a customer or a team member, what would that conversation look like? What would that interaction look like? How would I be speaking to them if I were having a coffee with them in a chilled out setting? You wouldn't stop and think for half an hour about what you were going to say to someone over a cup of coffee, but yet we stop and we think for ages about exactly how we're going to word a post on social media. The truth is, if you've had to stop and think for more than a couple of minutes about what you're going to write, you're probably not going to genuinely get their attention. So the best thing to do is be yourself. Less is more. Now, I want to give you guys the ultimate tip to being successful on Instagram. You guys ready for this? This is the one thing that if you do this, if you nail this, I can promise that no matter what, you will be successful at both Instagram and Facebook. This is the thing that the first thing we did when we started working with the Juice Plus head office, we nailed. And now that we've got this under control, everyone in the team knows exactly what we're doing when it comes to this. So you guys ready for this little piece of info here? I know it's going to be completely new to all of you. You need to know who you're talking to. Now, this is probably the most overlooked piece of advice that I see when it comes to people using social media in this industry. We seem to think that if we get really specific about who we're reaching, we're alienating lots of other potential customers. The truth of the matter is that you're not. If you get really specific about exactly who it is that you're looking to grow your team, if you're looking to grow your customer base, then those people are going to naturally feel like you're interacting with them. Have a look at some of the top Juice Plus leaders and think, are they trying to please everyone? Or are they really clear that they've only got a select group of people that are going to relate to them and they're just being loyal to those people with their content? Have a look at people like Linda and Christine Drummond and Brian Marsh and Fiona Marsh. All of these guys are amazing at speaking to their ideal target customer, their avatar. they know that not everyone is their ideal customer. And they also know that their business will be less enjoyable if they attract everyone and anyone and the wrong people. They want to attract their crowd, their group, their people that they connect with on a natural level. Why? Because number one, they're the people that will naturally love the business. They're going to be able to communicate and connect with them well if they're part of their team. They're going to be able to inspire and motivate them because they'll be on the same wavelength. And when it comes to a customer, these are the people that are going to really appreciate those guys for introducing them to Juice Plus because they value what they add to their lives. So remember that often this is not about the product. The product is incredible and it's amazing, but there are loads of different people that can supply Juice Plus. The reason people interact with you is because they connect to you, and the best way to get them to connect to you is to be really specific about who you're reaching. So the best thing you can do here is learn to date online. Really weird analogy, I know, but I want to encourage you to stop jumping straight to the sale. Stop jumping straight to how people can serve you, and think about, how can I connect with people, warm them up, build a relationship with them long term, and gently take them to a place where they are willing to make a commitment to me long term. I had an amazing interview with Christine Drummond on our podcast, which will be due to come out the next few weeks. And on that podcast, Christine talked about how she uses social media to build long-term relationships to grow her business. And what she really talked about was the fact that she doesn't promote, she loves on people. She first and foremost provides them with value, looks after them, nurtures them, and then as they're ready to find out more, she then takes them on that journey to be a part of the business with her. But because she's not ramming it down people's throats, people really respect that. It's an awesome podcast. Definitely jump on there and listen to that one when it comes out, because she gave a lot of great tips on how she uses Facebook and Instagram to grow her business. And I think we can all tell that people like Christine, etc., have done an amazing job at doing that. So the question people will ask at this point is, well, what do I need to get to know about my ideal customer? Well, the truth is, you need to know as much about them as you possibly can. When we did this exercise with Juice Plus head office, we named our ideal customer, which is you guys. We named her. We know how old she is. We know what she's interested in. We know the brands that she loves to buy. We know what her behavior is. And over time, you guys taught us more and more about that person, which helps us to further provide you, each of you, with the value that you need. So as you get to know your ideal customer, there are 2 questions that you need to be able to ask yourself about them. These 2 questions are going to help you formulate everything that you ever do on Instagram and Facebook. So what are those questions? The first of them is, what keeps them up at night? Now, what this means is, what stresses your ideal customer out? What problems do they want to solve? What frustrates them in life? What are they afraid of right now in this current climate and all this craziness going on? And then the other question you've got to ask yourself is, what gets them up in the morning? So what do they love? What do they value? What's most important to them? When you know the answer to these 2 questions, it then helps you to create content on Instagram and Facebook that's going to provide them first and foremost with value. So how are you going to help them either solve a problem or reduce their pain? Or how are you going to tap into the things they most love in life? So how are you going to, tap into the things that excite them about finishing work on a Friday night? The things that they want to do when they've got financial freedom. So think about how you can be providing value in your content that's beneficial to them, because when they feel like they resonate with the content you put out there, they're naturally going to interact with you. So here's a little point. People won't remember what you said, but they will remember exactly how you made them feel. And for that reason, I want you guys to focus on building engagement and not numbers. It's really, really easy to get tied up in how many people like me, how many people are following me. Do you know, when we get an influencer approach Juice Plus head office and they say, I've got so many thousand followers on Instagram, it usually sends off a really big flag for us to be very careful. Because if someone is measuring their success by the number of people that follow their page, we know that they're not telling us what we really want to hear, which is, what does your engagement look like? We don't really care how many people are following you. How many people actually care about what you're putting out there? Because those people following you may never, ever, ever engage with your business. So you've got to think, if you had 1,000 people that are following your Instagram page that are all your perfect customer, that are all potential customers for you guys or team members, how much more valuable would that be than having 10,000 people on your Instagram profile that couldn't care less about your Juice Plus business, that are not at all interested in the stuff you're putting out there? So be very careful about having the wrong goal set when it comes to Instagram, because it's really, really easy to get addicted to the numbers. So don't fall into that trap. Now, we're going to go into some tips now for Instagram, but as we do that, I just want to speak to you about your purpose, because as you work out what your Instagram is going to look like, who you're going to reach, and how you're going to make people feel, you also need to know what you most want to achieve. So my first question for you is, what is your main aim when it comes to your social media? Do you want to sell product and create customers? Or do you want to generate team builders? Do you want business builders? Do you want to grow your team? Now, there's no right or wrong answer here. And what we do know to be true is that usually customers will eventually turn into business builders. So we know from a Juice Plus head office level that if we attract customers, we can then use our marketing to then inspire them to consider taking on the business. The thing is that most people that do the business do it because they love the product. So it's great to get to help them to build a love for the product first. That being said, there are some very, very successful franchise partners out there that focus first and foremost on building the business. So like I said, no right or wrong answer, but you want to be clear about what you want to achieve here, because it makes sense that the posts you put out on social media will be different depending on which of these two things you most want to achieve. So with your Instagram content, it might be, if you're looking at getting team, you might be posting more about the lifestyle that they can lead and inspiring them in that space if they have the financial freedom they can get from the business. But if you want to get customers first and foremost, then you probably want to be posting things like smoothie recipes and health inspiration, etc. Family posts, all that sort of stuff. So this is going to determine what sort of content that you're putting out there, and you want to be consistent with that. The next thing that you then need to think about is, what do I most want to, what's my main objective? As in, am I here to educate? Am I here to inspire, sell, entertain people, nurture, connect? Am I branding? What is it that you most want to do with your social media? Because again, all of your content needs to come back to this. I then want you to think about, when someone looks at your Instagram profile, so when they go to your, what we call your grid, when they go to your Instagram and they see your grid, what's the first emotion you want them to feel? Because that emotion will then have to come back to, what colors are you using? What filters do you use? What words are you using? Are you going to incorporate some sort of a pattern or some sort of a hue or something that's going to bring in, again, a certain emotion from people? So do you want it to be upbeat and exciting, or are you wanting it to be calming and relaxing? What do you want people to feel? Do you want them to feel inspired and motivated? If you have a look at the Juice Plus head office Instagram feed, we're very much so about the bright, energetic colors. We want people to feel energetic when they go to that page, and so hence you'll notice a lot of bright coloring. And of course, we have kept it as a really beautiful pattern as well, and I'm going to show you as well what that might look like in just a sec. So all of that is then going to determine what language or imagery you're going to need to use. So you can see that there's got to be a little bit of strategy and structure. Now, a lot of people at this point sort of go, oh my gosh, there's so much that I have to take on and remember. And I would encourage you to not feel as though you have to do everything that I'm teaching you today all at once. It's always good if you can take a few things and start to adjust, learn, and use that information to improve your social media, but don't feel like you have to get it all perfect right now. Get in and have a go and have a play. And we've got an awesome opportunity for you guys to do some further learning with us as well, where we're going to help continue to grow you on this path. So here are a couple of little grid ideas. So we talk about the Insta grid. This is what people see when they go to your Instagram page, or your Instagram profile. So a few things that you want to keep in mind is each of these is going to make people feel different in a different way. There's no right or wrong here, and a lot of this comes back to testing. So I encourage you to get in and have a play, have a bit of a think about, you know, what emotion you want people to walk away from, and you've got to know what's going to interest and intrigue your ideal customer, because if they feel like they just want to go to your Instagram and they can't take their finger off the scroll because they're just so drawn into the content you're putting on there, you know you're on a winner. So a few tips for you when it comes to your Instagram and being successful in this space. First thing I would say is make your content your own watermark. So don't chop and change the post. The worst thing you could do is just put random posts up on Instagram and you don't consider what your overall feed will look like. You want to be consistent. So if, for example, you're going to use a filter, I would encourage you to use the same sort of filter every time. Don't use black and white one time and then a vivid one the next time. Keep your Instagram consistent. It's very different to Facebook in this way. And for that reason, you need to have a content plan. So one of the other things we can give you guys actually is a download that helps you map out what your content, meaning what your posts, will look like each week. So if you guys want that, just jump into the question box and give us a yep, and we'll make sure that we get that out to you guys after today's webinar. I'll be really happy to provide you with that little freebie to help you out there as well. So we mentioned before, you want to use between 7 and 30 hashtags, and it's recommended to use a mixture of popularities. So use some hashtags that are used a lot and use some that are minimally used. Change it up. Don't use the same hashtags every single time. Just change in and out maybe 5 of them. So what we tend to do is with the head office page, we've got, say, 6 different sets of hashtags, depending on if we've just put a recipe up, or we're putting a post up about the premium, whatever it is that the post is relevant to. We'll copy across a certain set of hashtags, and then we will add in, say, 5 or 6 that are just relevant to that post. So again, there's a few different ways that you can find hashtags. One of the ways that I recommend checking out is going to an app called Later. Later is an amazing app to use for scheduling in your Instagram. We love it here in Oxano head office because it allows us to plan our content out in advance. The other thing we love about it is that it gives you recommended hashtags and you can save them in there. So we can have a hashtag for recipes, and then we just literally click on that saved group and it pastes them across. So it saves us so much time. But if I put up a new smoothie that uses loganberries, I can type loganberries into hashtags and it will give me the top 100 used hashtags in relation to loganberries in the world. And then I can just click across on the ones that I want and it just pastes them straight over. Saves you so much time. Another place that you can go to find recommended hashtags is an app called FocalMark. I'm going to put these up on the screen in a minute. So FocalMark is going to give you some recommended hashtags. And a few of you guys have mentioned in here as well another amazing app called WordSwag. WordSwag is a great little post creation app. So it helps you create beautiful posts with beautiful text, but it also gives you recommended hashtags too. So that's another one I recommend you get in and check out. Now, another tip here, definitely embrace Insta stories. Highly recommend you embrace Insta stories. You also want to use a mixture of content from video to images. So don't use the same thing all the time. You saw in those grids we showed you before that they all had a big mixture of content. So mix it up, learn what people interact with, what works and what doesn't. Definitely get creative with your pictures. You guys have got amazing cameras in your pockets with your mobile phones. You don't need to download stock photographs. You don't need to copy anyone else. Get creative with your own camera. You also need to show up daily, or you need to use a scheduling program like Later. So on Instagram, it is best to be posting every single day. It's also recommended that you don't use text on every image, and when you do, that you keep it minimal. The more text you use on an image, the less likely it is that Instagram is going to deliver that post to people. So remember the algorithm we talked about before? This is one of the things to help you get around that. It's also highly recommended that you guys use the @mention feature. This is basically where you tag in another Instagram user. Number one, it's going to alert them to the fact that they've been tagged. It's going to essentially, it either promotes them or it alerts them to the fact that they're a part of your post. So it helps you increase your reach as well and to be found. And of course, remember to use your bio link to keep it all relevant to the current post. So what I'm actually going to do now, we're just going to go over a couple little don'ts, but I'm just going to switch because I noticed that we're running out of time, and Kira in a minute will be like, what are you doing? So what I'm going to do, can you guys still see my video, just not the screen? I think that's where we're at. So I'm just going to flick through here for a sec so that we can get to the stuff that I just wanted to go over a couple of other things to help you guys with build your following and give you those apps we talked about. So just bear with me for a sec. Okay, cool. All right, we're back. Okay, can you see this now? Building your following, guys? You're welcome, Michelle. Okay, so let's just talk now about a couple of little tips to build that following of yours. I mentioned before interacting with people. So important that you interact with people, because remember, you're going to make those real long-term connections. Part of dating. If you're going to date people online, if you're going to build those relationships with potential customers and team, you don't want them to be meaningless connections. You want them to be meaningful ones, because that's what creates loyal customers and team that you can actually motivate to grow their own business. So you need to be interacting with people. It's also a really great idea as well, guys, to use the Explore tab on your Instagram to help you connect with people, to help find other like-minded individuals, so other pages that you want to follow. Because the more that you get out of your own Instagram feed, the more followers and potential new customers you're going to also attract. One of the things that we did in the training we're going to talk to you about in a sec, which is nothing that any of you guys have seen before, by the way, guys. For those of you that have done our Facebook Quick Start training, we're actually going to talk to you about something completely different in a little second. So if you're sitting there going, yep, cool, been in that training, we've got something brand new that we launched only a few months ago that is an amazing opportunity to get some extra training on these things every single week. So we'll talk to you about that in a sec. So the other thing is that you need to know, like I said, who it is that you're reaching. And then to follow on from that, you want to be genuine. So I said it before, I'm going to say it again because it is so, so important. You guys need to be yourselves. The people that have got the greatest following on Instagram, that are the greatest influencers, are that because they're genuine to themselves. If you do a little bit of research, go in and have a look at a few Instagram feeds, and you'll notice there are certain feeds where you just feel this automatic connection to the person. Some of your Juice Plus leaders are the best at this. They're amazing at it. So take a leaf out of their book. I don't mean copy them. I mean learn how they're being genuine to themselves. I mentioned before the podcast that we're doing at the moment, and the fact that we did an interview with Christine Drummond. And another thing that came up was I've watched her journey on social media over the last few years. And something I really noticed about Christine is the fact that she has learnt to be unashamedly herself. And the more she's done that, the more she just breaks the barrier down and she's real, the more people engage with her and the further her business grows. So if you're going to be yourself, well, put it this way, how are people going to be able to relate to you if you're not being you? So again, if you're thinking, how am I going to write my next post? What text am I going to put up? What image am I going to use? Think less about it. Just be yourself, because that's the stuff that people are going to interact with the most. I've said before, of course, engaging, so following, liking, and commenting other people's content. And here's one for you. I've seen a lot of people doing this. Do not unfollow people as a way to increase your fans and followers. So what I mean by that is there are some people out there that think that there's a really great way to increase your Insta followers by liking as many pages as you can, waiting for them to respond by liking yours, and then unfollowing them all. Don't do that. Another big, massive don't, guys, is definitely don't fall into the tempting trap of buying followers. There are a lot of people out there that will sell you very cleverly the ability that they have to increase your followers on Instagram. You might pay them, say, $10 a month, and they're going to get you 10,000 more followers. It is very dangerous territory, and let me tell you this now, that cheating will slow you guys down. So don't do this. Big, big no-no. I have tested that process before to see, you know, is this actually true? Is this really actually a bad thing to do? And guys, let me tell you, it's a mess. Genuinely engage and grow your followers. It doesn't matter if it's slow and steady. Slow and steady will win the race. You, like I said before, I'd rather you have 100 really engaged fans and followers that could become your potential perfect customers or team than have 10,000 people that could not care less about you and your Juice Plus business. Okay, quick tips on Insta stories, because we have to finish this up. So here are a couple of things for you guys. Again, we're going to be doing some training on this inside of our accelerator membership that I'm about to talk to you about. But Insta stories, to give you a little bit of a rundown, they're only available within 24 hours. So you'll notice your Insta stories appear at the top of your Instagram feed. So for this purpose, there's no best time to post, because they will be the most prominent thing when anyone goes to their Instagram. It's the first thing that people see when they visit your page, and if you do a good job with this and you're frequent with this, your Insta story will often appear at the top of their feed without them having to go to your page specifically. So it will help draw more people in. The thing here though is that consistency and regularity is definitely the key. It's another thing that Christine talks about in our podcast interview, and how she uses Insta stories. So something to be aware of is that the algorithm also favors those that are using stories. That actually goes across to Facebook as well, by the way. It's a really great place for sneak peeks and announcements. So things like the offer that just got released today, guys, this is one of those. And it's really personal and fun. So I just wanted to show you guys how you do this really quickly. You just want to go up to, when you're in Instagram, you'll see this little plus here next to your business name, or you can swipe left when you're sitting on your business page. You can take a photo, or you can upload an image from your gallery. And then there's all sorts of really cool interactive things as well that you can add to that, that post on your story. And you can do 10, 15, 20 things in your story. It doesn't have to be just one post. You can create a story of stories. So definitely get in and have a play with it. And if you're not sure how to use it, you're like, oh, I don't know what will work, and just watch what other people are doing. Go and be curious. That's the best way to learn when it comes to social media. Be curious. See what other pages are doing. All right, a couple of quick apps for you guys. I know I'm racing now, I'm sorry. But the first app I mentioned before is called Later. This one is amazing for scheduling your posts in. It's great for hashtags. And here's another cool thing. You can actually get Later to automatically change the link in your bio. You remember I said before, you only get one link, and you want to make sure that it's changed to be relevant for your post. Well, with this app, you don't actually have to worry about it, because it does it automatically for you. Really cool tool. Here are some of those other ones I mentioned before. You've got Focal Mark, which is that hashtag finding app. We've got Repost. So unlike Facebook, you can't simply share a post that you love on Instagram from someone else. Repost is an app that allows you to do this. Again, this is a training we've got available for you guys. We'll walk you through it. We don't have time to do that today. Another one here is IGTV. This is Instagram's version of YouTube, if you like. So it's Instagram's, it's a separate app, but it allows you to create essentially a video channel on your Instagram. So again, another really cool thing to use, particularly if you love doing recipes. Canva. I love Canva. Canva is a fantastic way to create beautiful posts for any social media platform. And Boomerang. Boomerang creates little loops. So it helps you turn what might have been still image into a little mini video, if you like. So it's another great way to incorporate some cool content on your page that's a little bit different. Boomerang is particularly good for stories too. So if you want to get in and have a play with that, it's a free app, a lot of fun to use. All right. So what's the biggest mistake that you guys could make today from here? The biggest mistake you could possibly make is not doing anything with the information you guys have just learned. You have been awesome over the last hour, and I know I've thrown a heap of stuff at you, and I'm hoping you've taken a heap of notes. But what I don't want you to do is walk away from this session today with all those notes, close your notebook, and not ever implement anything. So what I would encourage you to do is definitely we're going to talk to you about an opportunity to do some learning with us now, but you also have got the opportunity to jump in and do some of our free trainings and bits and pieces as well, and start implementing stuff straight away. So what's next for you guys? We did a little bit of a survey over all of our all of the people in our courses over the last 6 months. We've got a bit over 1,500 people that are currently in our online training courses that we've been developing, and these are some of the things that we noticed people were really frustrated and struggling with. We wanted to know how we could best help you guys, how we can provide you value and help you grow when it comes to your social media. And the thing that kept coming up was that people wanted constant support. They wanted to be held to account, and they wanted easy, quick, accessible training to help you guys grow your businesses and know what is currently working in layman's terms. Just tell us what we need to know so we can do it right now. So what we want to talk to you guys about is a new membership that we launched only a few months ago that is designed to give you training directly with me every single week. And it's only $29 a month. So the whole month for everything that you're going to get in this training is only $29 a month. We're going to pop a link up for you guys to jump in and join this membership. We would love to have you guys as part of it. But what we do in here is I do a weekly training where I do something that is relevant to what is going on right now that's going to help you right now to grow your business. That weekly training is usually only between 15 and 30 minutes. So it's bite-sized. You can do it during lunch. You can do it at breakfast or when you have your coffee, even when you're sitting on the toilet if you want to. Just don't tell me that's what you're doing. But you basically get online access. All you need is internet. And we give you Facebook and Instagram updates and tips, everything you need to know in there. We also give you guys guides and downloads and templates, so all you ever have to do is copy along with us. This means that we take a lot of the thinking out of what you have to do on social media. Things like we give you 100 post ideas, so you will never again have to think about what am I posting next on social media. So I think we're going to pop that link for this membership into the chat. But again, if you can't find it, you want it, just let us know in the question box and we'll give you that link right now. We've got the girls ready with that for you. And we would really love to encourage you to join us in there. We're doing another training in there tomorrow. We spent the last 2 weeks teaching you how to create events and promote those events in your group, which again is another great way to grow your business. So loads of really awesome stuff in there too. Plus on top of that, we do a live Q&A call every month as well, so you can ask all your burning questions and I jump on with you and answer all of those questions and interact with you guys in there as well. So we'd love to have you guys join us in there. If you want that link or you're having a bit of trouble finding it, just let us know and we'll get you guys organized. Otherwise, the girls will pop it in the chat for you right now. But in the meantime, I think we've got some questions that we need to get to. So for those of you that don't need to rush off, stick around as long as you want to. We'll answer your burning questions right now. If there's anything you want to check in with me about, please feel free to. Would love to help you out. So I'm going to have a little bit of a look back here, guys. I know the girls have sort of been flagging the questions as we've gone through this session today. If there is something that's still relevant that you would like an answer to, if you could just retype it down the bottom, because we've had so much awesome interaction from you guys, it will help me find your question too. Okay. So we've got somebody here. Oh, Kim's left, so we won't worry about that one at the moment. So Chrissy, hey Chrissy has said, I have a 9-tile grid structure I follow to guide me on what to post about and when. I give myself more flexibility with stories. I tend to flick everything over to Facebook also, but don't actively seek out leads on Facebook. I'm currently only using Instagram. Awesome, well done, Chrissy. So my question to you, Chrissy, is how are you finding your Instagram is working? Is that grid working really well for you? Are you what are you finding is more successful for you, Facebook or Instagram? Like, what's your current challenge, and is there anything we can do to help you further with that? Okay, so Michelle's jumped out, so sorry guys, I'm just looking for someone who's got a question who's still in. Michelle asked, am I able to share who they, the avatars. Okay, so we've got 2 avatars for Juice Plus. Avatar number 1 is Sarah. We've got Sarah and Donna. We created 2 because we're fully aware that we've got one avatar who is sort of that 28 to 35 year age bracket. And then we've got Donna, who is the next generation above that. These 2 women have got completely different interests and behaviours, and their demographic is very different as well. But we know that Sarah is more of our business builder, and Donna usually starts out being a customer. So we've really nailed that down. If, by the way, you guys would like our avatar worksheet, we actually do have a download we can give you guys for free that helps you identify who your perfect customer is. It's an exercise, so you just print out that worksheet. We can send that through to you guys. I'm more than happy to do that if you want it. Just let us know in the question box again, and we'll do that for you. Okay, so guys, if anyone does have any further questions, please jump on in and let us know now. I've got lots of beautiful thank yous. No problems, guys. It's an absolute pleasure. And if, by the way, if you guys are going to join us in Accelerator, let us know. I want to know who we've got joining us in there. I know a few of you guys have just registered, but if you are joining us, I'd like to know. Okay, how many stories per day is best, says Michelle. Okay, how many stories per day is best? Look, Michelle, I think at least 1 a day, but if you can jump in and do several, get in and have a play with that. But I would say do at least 1, do at least 1 a day. And just make it something that's sort of current to what you're doing right now. It doesn't have to be perfect. You're going to learn as you go, but get a little bit consistent with it. I definitely recommend that you get consistent with it. Chrissy, I asked my new followers what attracted them to my profile, and they often say the look and feel of my posts, and also comment on any post where I appear myself. Great observation. I'm really glad to hear you say that. Facebook engagement is super low. One thing I've learned from today is not to use that share button and post to Facebook organically. Yes, but guys, remember, we've got our free Facebook webinar on Thursday. Jump into that one, because that's going to be an awesome opportunity to further learn how you can best grow your following on Facebook. And it's also going to give you some tips that are really relevant to Instagram as well. So we'd love to have you join us across there. Guys, we're going to wrap up now. If you do have any other questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I would love to further chat with you, so please don't hesitate to touch base with us through our Facebook page, or you can flick me an email. But thanks so much for joining us today. It's been a really great session. I hope you got heaps out of it. Like I said, we did pack as much stuff in here as we possibly could, and so I feel like I've probably scrambled a few brains, hopefully not too much. But again, thank you so much for joining us today, guys. And we look forward to seeing some of you guys on Thursday. Who is jumping in on Thursday, by the way? Have we got a few of you guys coming in there? Yeah.
Excuse me,
awesome.
Sam.
Hey, how are you, Rach?
Hi, Sam. Hi, everybody. I just wanted to announce the winner of the Benro giveaway.
Yes, thank you. Sorry, Michelle Gray is the winner of the Benro. So congratulations, Michelle. Thanks for reminding me, Rachel.
No worries.
So Michelle, we're going to send that out to you. Well done, and again, looking forward to seeing you guys on Thursday. Make sure you join our Accelerator membership. It's only going to be available at $29 a month for a short period of time. By the way, you are not locked in, so you can be a part of that membership for 1 month, for a year, it doesn't matter. We'd love to have you guys join us in there and get that extra little bit of training every week and support from us. So in the meantime, guys, have a really awesome week, and we'll see a bunch of you guys on Thursday. Thank you. Bye.